Okay. All right, folks.
Jay, I cannot be laughing like that.
Welcome to the second half of the Fuel Pod, the part that's actually recording because we just spoke for half an hour and we were not live. Um, that's what you get for not having a dedicated audio visual guy. So, welcome to episode 97 again for the second time where you didn't know there was a first time. So, anyway, if it wasn't for Mikey texting me, and welcome back, by the way, Mikey, again for the second
Great
time.
to be back. Great to be back yet again.
Yeah.
I want a special shout out to your son
Yep.
on his graduation. Congratulations. A huge milestone in a young man's life. And, congratulations, man.
Yeah, and I was happy for him. I don't know if you got to see last week's show. He wore his cap
Yeah.
and tassel in
Yeah,
last
I
week's
did.
episode.
So
So
you can go ahead and, say again how the tears were
yes,
running.
yes, yeah, there were buckets. I thought I was going to make it through the entire ceremony, but I did not. And it's tough to
I've
watch
been
your
there,
oldest.
man.
Yeah, I know you. You've had how many?
Three.
So, and I still got one more. And folks, if you feel kind of amiss when you're listening to this, trying to figure out what happened. So we basically started the show at 9 as planned, but I forgot to click on the go live button. So we did a pretty good, awesome half an hour before we actually realized I didn't realize it at all. Mikey did. So, Mikey, we have the Formula One Rolex Gran Premio del Made in Italy del Emilia Romagna at the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari this weekend.
That's Imola GP for short.
Yes, which in short is just the Imola GP, which it'll be our first time racing here in 2 years. We had the crazy torrential floods and rains last year, and they had to cancel it. And it was an absolute disaster area. And I know a lot of people lost their homes, and hats off to them and their recovery process and getting their lives back together. And I know they're happy about this race. It's one of their favorite things that happens in their area. And Italy, just in general, is a Ferrari hotbed for racing action. So looking forward to seeing the race this weekend as we move into it. But we've got 63 laps, 3 miles. This is the turn layout. My favorite turn, it's probably the signature turn, probably everybody's favorite corner here, is the Aqua Minerale, or as me and Chad like to call it, the let go and let God turn. Wonderful to drive in sim racing if you're a sim person, but fun to watch as well. Mikey, what do you think of Imola?
Fun to watch, and again, hats off to them for not only recovering from the disaster, but restoring the beauty of the place. That one turn I was mentioning earlier, but 14 and 15 looks like a spot for that late breaking Danny Ricciardo special. And the rest of them, boy, there's a lot of beaches around and pretty scary.
Yeah, it's a unique circuit. It's high speed. This is obviously going to favor Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren to be sure as a team. But there's a few drivers it's also going to favor because they just like going fast. So we do have a few Ricky Bobbies out there. K-Mag's one of them. He's going to get some Ricky Bobby action probably going this weekend. George Russell, he'll probably push pretty hard. I look forward to Danny and Yuki kind of duking it out, and Pierre Gasly in the middle of the mix there, fighting around with all the back end traffic. That reminds me, I'm going to add that.
With the track layout that you showed, and with the new elevation changes.
Yeah,
I was watching the intro, and it was only showing one DRS zone. Is there possibly two? I'm not completely sure, but it's not a DRS track.
Well, as you and I were talking in the show rehearsal for the first half hour, you don't really need, you don't crazy need DRS. If you're looking, this obviously is the diagram of the helicopter shot of the circuit. And it does a great job, I think, of capturing the elevation changes. You can see if you see that blue paint in the middle right of the picture, that's Aqua Minerale. So you can see that it goes down under that and uphill back out of it. So, but definitely a very fast circuit where there's only a few turns, Tosa and Grissini and Ravazza, that are probably going to slow people down at all. So I think we'll see some late breaks. I think we'll see some Danny Ricciardo full sends. There's probably some other people that get on that. But, as I'd mentioned earlier, too, this also is one of those race circuits that if something pisses you off as a driver, you tend to take it with you for the next 15 or 20 laps. So we could see some tempers flare here. And I'm talking to you, K-Mag, sitting on I don't know how many penalty points about to get banned for a race and give your seat up to Oliver Bierman. But yeah, so we could definitely see some. I mean, 2022 lap 1, Danny Ricciardo pushed Sainz out into the gravel. There was a McLaren that got, I can't remember who it was. Oh no, that was Danny Ricciardo. He was still driving for McLaren. Got pushed off into the gravel on that Sainz move. And one of the Haas's went off on the other side of the road, and I don't even remember why. I don't think they even got hit. But we had 2 DNFs there. We had Alonso and Sainz. Of course, that race started out wet. It was raining. They started out on inners and didn't really switch to dry tires till lap 19 out of 63 laps. So the track was probably still a little bit wet there for a couple more laps. But podium ended up being Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris. And, it could potentially end up being the same thing this weekend. That's not who I have on the podium this weekend, and we're obviously going to get to that here in a little bit. But the lap record's held by Lewis Hamilton at 1:15.4, and that was from 2020. But, you and I were talking about, I don't really think it matters. I don't think any of the lap records matter. I don't think any race results from previous years matter because these are such different cars than they were in 2022. What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah, I think you're right. And God, it's been upgrade package, on top of upgrade package on top of upgrade package, and everything's evolved. So who knows what we're going to see? We're going to see some really fast stuff. I know that. You said Ferrari is definitely bringing upgrades this week.
Yeah, and you segued perfectly into our. You did better this time than you did last time in the first session of this show. But segueing into the upgrade discussion, because we've got Ferrari coming with a full raft of upgrades this weekend, and they're excited about it, which is weird because they're usually not that excited. I'm not as excited as they are because sometimes as a fan, I don't really like a confident Ferrari because it worries me. Because a lot of times they end up shitting their pants when they're confident. So I kind of need them to be a little stressed out. But you were telling me something about Oscar before we got started, and then you were telling it while we were actually doing the first part of the show.
Well, real fast, there's no sprint race this weekend. So this gives 3 full practice sections for Ferrari to, do the tweaks and stuff on the upgrade packages. So that too also plays into Ferrari's hands, more than, McLaren's upgrades last in Miami, which they had the sprint race that kind of interrupted a little bit of their tweakage time. Also, at Miami, Lando had the full upgrade package. Now at Imola, Oscar's going to have the full upgrade package where he only had half the package for Miami. So
yeah, and
looking forward to some good stuff.
Oscar was up front without an upgrade package, so that actually scares me a little bit. Hopefully he finds it difficult to drive, but I doubt that. So, but you do have Ferrari showing up with both, and I am going to throw this up here, but this is the supposed Ferrari upgrade package, and you can just ditch all the other pictures except for the main picture with the side pod, and see that they have adopted the Red Bull style of side pod. How dare they? But I'm in total agreement. My thing is this: put on the car what works and take off the stuff that doesn't. So if this ends up helping them out and giving them that little bit of extra maneuverability and a little bit of better aero, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely. You may be missing, 30 or 40 HP logos on that picture, but
yes,
it looks good. It looks
yeah, man.
good.
Did you see they
Makes the
changed
car
their
look
name?
shorter, more compact, like a Red Bull. And yeah, they're going to bring it. It's their home. They're going to bring it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. But I was telling you, they changed their name officially to Scuderia Ferrari HP, which is driving me crazy.
I know it is, man.
I mean, I am hating life right now. I really want McLaren to say we're now Jack Daniels McLaren F1. Of course, even that actually sounds cool. Ours does not. I mean, it might as well be Scuderia Ferrari Tampax. So yeah, we're kind of stuck with that. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with the upgrade package. Mercedes also bringing upgrade packages this weekend, going into Imola. So anxious to see what they do. Russell sounded a little more confident than Lewis Hamilton did. But Hamilton's always been kind of conservative with upgrade packages. The good news is for Hamilton is that he is good at this circuit. And with the exception of Fernando Alonso, he's probably driven it more than any other driver on this current grid. So that's going to benefit him as well.
Yeah, and with George Russell, he's going to be racy.
Yeah.
As long as Sainz isn't up front.
Yeah. If Sainz is up front, he's going to spin and be in the wall. Well, he's going to eat some gravel first, and then he'll be in the wall.
Yeah, he's going to the wall regardless.
Yeah. So anyway, that covers most of that stuff for Imola. If you're a fantasy team guy, make sure you're loading your team down with as much Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren as you can. I know as we get towards the middle of the season, that's going to be harder and harder to do with the values going up. You might be past the point of no return on locking in some of those guys with the money that they give us. But try to load it down as much as possible. I am not going to use a chip.
No.
This weekend you couldn't pay me enough money to use one of the chips that we get.
No, and that limitless chip is so tempting every week, but because man, you can make up a lot of points real fast using that chip. But I'm just not ready to pull the trigger yet.
I'm trying to stay as close as I can to the mix without using chips, and then probably just pound them. And that might be a bad strategy too. I've kind of looked at all the circuits, and I know which ones I kind of want to use them on. But dude, still, it's an any given Sunday situation. You could have one of the front drivers or a guy running 2-3 wipe everybody else out in lap one, and then you've got the podium is Zhou Guanyu, Valtteri Bottas, and Yuki Tsunoda.
It really is tightening up, and surprisingly, you're seeing potential, real races when it comes to like constructor titles.
Yeah,
and man, that's exciting. That's exciting.
I would love, and you and I've talked about this, but I would love to see a 3-way race for first. I'd love to, and it won't happen, but I would love to see us go into the final race at Abu Dhabi, within 5 to 10 points of each other. That would be well worth it.
Absolutely. The first of the season, when we was making our predictions and putting everything into the scriptures, I said, Abu Dhabi would be the most boring race because everything's already settled. But we're seeing things tighten up where maybe that race can be a little more exciting than what we were expecting.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to shout out to F1 Farmer for nailing us on the delayed start, sitting around taking bets. So, hey, man, at least we didn't at least we've just fessed up to it. And not so much you as it is absolutely my fault. But I need an AV guy. I need a guy in the chair, and I don't have that. So I was trying to balance that, but no excuses. I forgot.
It was a good moment, but like I said, I can't be laughing that hard, man.
So anyway, man, yeah, they're all down. Talk to me about McLaren and whether their Miami performance was a fluke, or do you think they can keep this going as we move into Imola, and even more so? Let's discount Imola. Let's talk about Monaco, um, because we got it coming up after Imola. And in a lot of ways, Monaco is the crowning jewel for F1 in a lot of ways, and I think that has more to do with location than it does to do with the race. Because anybody that's watched 2 or 3 Monacos know that race can be one of the most boring ones you watch all year, except for the qualifying.
Yeah.
That is the most exciting qualifying I think you'll watch all season. And it definitely was last year. It did not disappoint, but we're talking about a very slow race in terms of overall average speed. A lot of tight corners, a lot of good speed coming in certain places, but you're still talking about a lot of low speed corners mixed with some, medium speed maybe. So, and then of course the casino turn. So, anywho, so what are your thoughts on to finish out my question? What are your thoughts on McLaren over the next as we hit the European swing?
On McLaren, I think with Lando's win at Miami, the upgrade packages, Oscar bringing the upgrade this week, in F1 Academy, Bianca Bustamante had a great weekend at Miami. I think it's real positive vibes going around McLaren, and I think they're real confident and just ready to ride some of this momentum and see where it takes them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have, especially being a McLaren fan.
Let me ask you a question, man, and I might pull a Chad here and put you on the spot with a sniper shot, but I obviously do not follow F1 Academy as close as you do. So my question is, do they use the F1 Academy cars as a means of creating upgrade packages so they can see what'll work and what won't work as it relates to F1, even if it's an abbreviated version of that upgrade package?
Possibly, but I don't think they can a whole lot because every car on the F1 Academy grid is pretty much the same exact car.
Okay. Do they use like a Dallara frame like F2 does, or?
Yeah, and they can tweak little things like a front wing adjustment or something like that, but they can't do anything huge to really test things.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good thing.
So, which makes those accusations against Susie Wolf, before the season started, it was completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
She can't share secrets with her husband. There's no secrets to share.
That's a fair point. But people are looking for dirt. That's all they're going to find, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just life. But man, let's talk about something not so good going into Imola, and probably not even good going into the rest of the season. And that is the complete shit show that is Alpine right now. Read rumors where both drivers won out. Although based on performances, even though I know it's not not 100% their fault, I don't know where they would land. I mean, I could see if a Max Verstappen found himself on Alpine for whatever reason and won it out, he'd be able to go somewhere. I really don't know if Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly can go anywhere right now. I really don't know who would take them right
now. So what I've read is if Audi can't get signs, then they're looking at Esteban Ocon as their driver, which to me it kind of I don't know, is kind of a buzzkill. They were from going from someone in the class of Carlos Sainz as a potential driver for their incoming Audi team to Esteban Ocon.
Yeah.
And Pierre Gasly, he will find a job, man. He's great, but I think they're just so bad they want out. And I kind of wanted to pitch this question to you. I watch a lot of WEC racing, World Endurance,
Yeah.
and Alpine has brought the hypercar to World Endurance this year, and surprisingly, they are very respectable in endurance racing right now. And I'm wondering if they put too much, development wise, and I'm not sure how all this works, but do they put too much development wise into building this hypercar team that they kind of put the Formula One on the back burner, and like now it's kind of like a oops,
Well,
damn it.
man, and listen, I think by and large, first off, you have to take the word Alpine and throw it in the garbage, and
Hmm.
you have to bring back, not physically bring back, but just in your thought process, bring back the word Renault.
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
you look at Renault and their history in rally and their history in endurance racing, yeah, they
Hmm.
don't have it. They don't have an absolute shit ton of titles. Rally's probably their strongest discipline. It was for a long time, and what they could bring to the table with some of their cars, and even when they went with an Alpine, the 110S that absolutely murdered everybody in rally for a while, and the big fat ass, uh, the uh, the Renault 5 Turbo, the fat rally. But yeah, I can see where endurance racing, piques their interest as far as you know putting a good car together. Now
Hmm.
in F1, it's not like, I mean, they were a supplier for a while for power units.
Hmm.
Hell, they supplied Red Bull. Um, I just somewhere the team fell apart, and somewhere in there was Otmar Zafnauer, good or bad, no matter what you think of him. That whole transition to and out from him has really sent them into this downward spiral that they can't seem to recover from.
Yeah.
And man, listen, I don't know what right looks like, and I don't know what fixing that bus looks like. We're not there to see the internal workings, but anytime you have both of your drivers wanting to leave an F1 seat, the
That's
most
never
coveted
good.
seats in racing, you've got a freaking problem, dude. I mean, you've got a serious problem because no F1 driver wants to give up a seat because they don't know
No.
if they're going to get one back.
No, you've
Uh,
got everybody else on the grid with
yeah,
their contracts coming up is like, oh my God, please let me have a seat. Let me have a seat. And these guys are like, hey, you can have ours. You can have ours.
yeah. And I don't want to waste too much more time on this, only to say that, and I hate to use this phrase, but dude, I'm praying for them. I hope they put it back together because, you know, they're in a place where that team should be better, should be way better. They
Absolutely.
shouldn't have went. They shouldn't have went this many races with a fat ass car that was ridiculously overweight for a long time until last week, and they actually showed signs of life last week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we got some of the most exciting wheel-to-wheel racing I've seen in probably 2 years
Uh-huh.
between teammates, who also, by the way, can't stand each other. So they can't stand their job, and they can't stand each other.
Yeah. There's
So,
there's major
yeah,
problems within the team.
and I don't think that any number of Ryan Reynoldses and Russell Wilsons and McElhaney's can put this shit back together. They need an intervention, dude.
They do. They
They
really
need an
do.
intermediary to come in and put everybody in the room and get a spokesman for each group and go, all right, we're not leaving here until this shit's settled. Right? We got to put
Uh-huh.
this back together. So anyway, best of luck to them. Prayers are with you. Obviously, we would like to see you be successful.
Absolutely. The more competition, the better.
Absolutely. So, and also this segues into, and I don't know why it segues into that other than I'm saying it segues into it, but the other shit show thing this week is, of course, Kevin Magnussen, who I like him, man, as a driver. I respect him as a driver. The time he's put in, the way he held on and got a hot seat back after basically getting forced out. But he's overly aggressive, and he doesn't take um, he doesn't take defeat well. And I'm not talking about defeat on the whole race front. I'm talking about defeat in a corner well. He comes back with a vengeance. He usually causes some kind of disaster. Anyway, he's setting what, 2 points from a one race ban?
Yeah, 2 points from a ban.
2 points from a ban. Checo not far behind him. But, that's another story. But it sets up an opportunity where we can see a guy that's, I think, in like 6th place for the Drivers' Championship. Oliver Bierman with 10 points could potentially be loaned to Haas from Ferrari, since Haas uses a Ferrari power unit, and it's their sister team too. So we could potentially see Oliver Bierman. And here's another question for you. If Oliver Bierman comes in for one race and gets points at a Haas, does K-Mag even come back? And I think the answer to that is no.
Yeah. There's real danger there for K-Mag.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
So
this is what I brought up to you before earlier in the week. There's no way, if he's already up to 10 points, there's no way K-Mag can go the rest of the entire season without picking up those 2 points. And I think it would be great for Ferrari to loan Ollie to Haas, and I think Haas would welcome him with open arms. Please come drive our car. And it would be great to see that kid get another chance, man.
Here's what I'm looking at,
exciting to watch.
Kevin Magnussen has 1 point this year. 1 point. Nico Hulkenberg has 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Bierman has 6 points
in one race.
So, right. So let's say at Monaco, Hulkenberg scores 2 points, and Bierman, who's now sitting in K-Mag's seat, ends up getting 2 to 4 points. Then if you're the team principal, you're adding those up and going, okay, so right now I have this amount, but if he goes back to Ferrari, I'm losing those points from a constructor standpoint, right? So for that 1 week, he'll have an extra 6 points on his docket. But I just don't. Man, again, I don't know if he does well. I just don't know. Yeah, and it's hard to tell. I mean, I hope it's not another De Vries situation where, De Vries came in at Monza last year, or was it 2 years ago now? Man, time flies. And drove a Williams for one race, and did well. And
then got that
then got the RB seat. And I'm trying to think of people that I've seen at Walmart pushing shopping carts around that probably would have been a better driver with that contract. So
my goodness, like I said, I mentioned being a World Endurance fan myself. Nick De Vries is now driving for Toyota Gazoo, and Gazoo has been so dominant in that series for so long, and now they're not. I think the guy is a walking curse.
Yeah, it's like Joe Zananzi, man. He left F1, didn't do so hot at Alfa Romeo. Had small signs of greatness here and there, maybe, but obviously he's killing it at Ferrari in WEC. So some guys find futures, other places. Grosjean did. Obviously, Marcus Ericsson did. So
pay attention, Lance Stroll.
Yes, please, Lance Stroll. Go on the World Surfing Tour. Do something. Anywho, man, let's round it out though, and I'm gonna tell you my prediction for Imola for the podium is going to be Leclerc, Norris, Sainz. That's who I'm taking. No Red Bull on the podium. I know that's a ballsy choice. I'm predicting Perez to take Verstappen out before the end of lap 1.
That is huge, man. And I really can't argue with you a whole lot with that. I think both with Ferrari and McLaren, they're just like, you know what? You're not going to push us around anymore. We're not scared of you, Red Bull. It's over. We're here to race.
So who's your podium, man?
Let me go with, man, I'm still got to put Max Verstappen in there. But let me go Leclerc, let me go Max, and let me go Lando.
Okay.
Followed by Oscar,
Okay, we're just doing top threes.
Okay.
Just the podium. Nobody else.
Okay.
Counts.
I got you.
So anyway, all right, we got that down for next week. And last but not least, because it's been in the news, well, for 2 weeks, but it was seriously in the news this week a lot. Adrian Newey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we had a kind of a veiled comment from Lewis Hamilton about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago, when he was asked, do you think you'll get to work with Adrian Newey? And he just kind of gave that shit-eating kid in a candy store grin, like, yeah, that would be wonderful. And then just kind of smiled. And they asked him if he could say anything about it. And he was like, no, and still smiling. So I think he's going to Ferrari. And that's not a mind-blowing revelation for me. I mean, I'm one of probably 20 million people saying that, because I know Mercedes is in the discussion. I know Aston Martin's in the discussion, and I know McLaren wants to be in the discussion, but they're not.
I think you're dead on with Ferrari. I've read the same things, and I'm happy for them if they can land Adrian Newey, and boy, Fred Vassar, golly, what he is putting together is so impressive.
Yeah, he's going to get like CEO of the year or something, man.
I think when it comes to McLaren,
CEO,
I think they've got their own thing. Like, they've got their path that they're taking, so they're quick to drop out of the Newey race. Ferrari is great, and my goodness, why wouldn't Newey want to work for Ferrari?
He has wanted to his whole life.
Every driver who has ever driven a car would love to drive for Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari is Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
So, absolutely, I think it'd be a wonderful thing for Newey to go there. Let's, like I said, man, exciting things coming in Formula One for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, let's go ahead and close it out and get ready for Imola this week. You got qualifying on what, Friday?
We've got a regular other side of the world weekend this weekend.
What's that? Say it again. Sorry.
I think we have a normal schedule. A normal other side of the world schedule.
Yeah.
For this weekend, so everything shouldn't be anything wacky.
Yeah, that's true. Eric finished this out here. It would be epic to see Adrian and Ferrari take a world championship. So yeah, absolutely. Would love that. It's been a long time. Not so long for Adrian, but kind of a while for Ferrari. So, but yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Well, listen, folks, whatever you got going on this weekend, watch some racing, no matter what kind of racing that is. Albeit dirt track, NASCAR, Indy, WEC, Rally, IMSA, or some Formula One at Imola. But thank you for being a part of this evening, even though we've now done this show twice tonight. So everybody have a good one, and we are definitely out.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you.